Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog. And today it's actually a special reading vlog because it is week 1 of the Merlin Read-a-thon. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and do a readathon for this month. It is hosted by quite a few people actually. It's hosted by 2 different people. I'll have their descriptions down below. It's also like kind of co-hosted or like a bunch of other YouTubers that are helping out. I'll have all their channels down below. But basically, the Merlin Read-a-thon is based on the television show Merlin, the BBC television show. I've never actually personally watched it myself, but I mean, it's kind of that like classic fairy tale, you know, Excalibur, Camelot, like all of that kind of stuff is all like mixed in with the show and like kind of magic, but like the older type of style magic. So it's a lot of like that kind of stuff. I remember like just from descriptions I've heard of the show. But they're doing a readathon for 2 weeks. It's gonna be through August 1st to the 14th, and they're basically going to be doing a bunch of prompts kind of based off of the show and kind of you going from being someone that's interested in sorcery and interested in magic, going from that all the way to a mage. And there's like different kind of classes, kind of like Whatever-a-thon, how Whatever-a-thon had different classes based off of, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like acolyte and sorcerer, like that kind of, those kind of titles. It's kind of similar to that, only instead these prompts are very specific in that there's like a story behind each of these prompts, and then they're going to like give you a book that you have to read in order to fulfill that prompt. In general, there are 4 prompts, and I'll go ahead and show the image of all of the prompts on this. You'll see the image of it right here. I decided on 4 different prompts I'm going to be choosing from, and I was actually able to get a lot of my books that are supposed to be on my TBR. I actually got 2 of them. I was able to fit those into 2 of the prompts, so that actually worked out really well, and I'm really glad because I was a little afraid that doing this readathon, how big of a readathon it is, I was afraid that if I did it, I was going to not be able to finish my TBR, and I have a few other video ideas that I really wanted to try and record this month. So I was a little afraid that it would be a little too much for me, but I think I'm actually going to be able to do it because I have already started the first book. It's a little, I'm starting it early, I know, but because it is actually technically August 31st right now, Saturday. So I should be starting it tomorrow, but I wanted to go ahead and get started on it today because again, I have a lot of stuff that I'm doing in the next couple weeks, and I'm going to try and vlog everything that's happening over the next couple weeks because I have a lot of like really good ideas, a lot of really good videos in store for you guys. I'm honestly just having a lot of fun recording right now. But I don't want to ramble too much on that. I just want to let you know that this is going to be the first week. This vlog is going to be the first week for the Merlin Read-a-thon. And I want to go ahead and talk about the books I'm going to be reading, the books that I hope to finish this week. And I also wanted to show you, I haven't really been talking about this too much in my vlogs yet, but I bullet journal. And I heavily base it off of Amanda Rachel Lee. I'll leave her channel in the description below as well. Use her style and her like her themes that she always chooses because I really enjoy the themes that she uses, and I honestly don't like, she even says it herself, she loves people using her themes and using her ideas, and I for the most part do the same thing that she does, only I kind of vary it a little bit based off of the stuff that I have, the materials that I have to use, as well as like some other additional spreads that I would like to use. For instance, she doesn't do book TBRs, so I always have a TBR in my bullet journal that I put together. And then, for instance, with this readathon, because it's special, I wanted to make sure that I put that in the bullet journal so that when I look back on it in the future, I can say, oh, I did that readathon. And even if this readathon happens again next year, I'd love to look back at it and see what books that I chose, what prompts were there, if they change at all. So I just think it's really cool to like be able to have that cataloged in a bullet journal. And obviously she's not doing that, so I made my own spread that's kind of loosely based off the theme of the spread, but with this readathon. So I'm going to go ahead and show that now, and let me know in the comments if you like to bullet journal or if you like to journal your reading. And I just love to see like what you guys come up with as well. Okay, so I'm sorry about the light, but the lighting's a little bad right now, but this is actually the bullet journal that I use. So this is a wingbat journal. I got it when I was in Buffalo. There's an art store in Buffalo that I absolutely love, Buffalo, New York. There's an art store in Buffalo, New York that I really love. I got this journal. I really love it because it has this like cute little cute little monkey and palm tree. I got this bullet journal. I thought it was really cute, and like it's really nice quality. There's like a couple different spreads in here. But what I want to show you is my August spread. And let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing the spreads. If you follow Amanda Rachel, you'll pretty much recognize these. But again, I kind of like put my own little variation on it with materials that I have, and also just like interests that I have that's not quite hers. This style is based off of, you know, like a composition notebook that you would have when you were in like elementary or middle school, when you had like a bunch of stickers and like doodles and all that kind of stuff. This quote is actually from an artist. I can't remember off the top of my head what singer it was that did this quote. If I can remember it when I edit this video, I'll go ahead and put the name of it right here, the name of the artist. But basically, this is a quote from one of her songs. And again, it's just kind of a cute little spread. I stamped these letterings with 2 different styles of stamps, and then I put a bunch of stickers that I had. But that's like the intro page. It's like my habit and mood tracker. Again, I kind of like just keep it simple. These are like just kind of some habits I like to try and keep. And then my mood, I have these little like smiley stickers. I have a bunch of them, so I was gonna put them throughout the numbers here. Like every day, I'm gonna like cover the number with one of the stickers. That's that kind of spread. And then this is the spread that I think you'd be interested in. So first of all, this is the playlist spread, and I kept it very simple. But in case you're curious, this is actually the list that I look at when I make my Bard's Bookshelf list. So I'll look through these songs and I'll kind of determine which ones work best for that video. So just like a little behind the scenes of like what I do with that. And then right here is my TBR page. It's pretty blank right now because those are just the couple that I have that are technically part of my TBR. But then I'm obviously going to be adding on to it as I read other books that's not part of the TBR, like the couple books that are in the Merlin Read-a-thon. Then I just have this sticky note here just to let me know like how many pages I have from each book, just to kind of give me an idea of like the progress that I'm at. And then this is just the reading log. So I usually like to keep track of how many pages I read a day and like what books I'm reading during that day. And it just kind of helps me with like the stats and just in general like stuff I'm interested in. And then this is the spread for the Merlin Read-a-thon. So again, like I kind of kept a little bit of an idea of like that kind of scrapbooky composition notebook kind of a feel, but I use these like brown labels, and I thought that would be interesting to put for the prompts from the Merlin that I chose. And then these are the books that I chose for each of the prompts, and there's 4 prompts altogether, leading you up through the different ranks of magic, from apprentice to magician to conjurer to sorcerer, and then finally to mage if I was able to complete all of the prompts. So I just want to show you these spreads that I've made. This one I made completely by myself. Let me know if you liked it in the comments, and I'd love to show you guys more about my bullet journals, and I do want to show more art videos at some point on my channel, but right now this is as much as I'm okay with showing, just because I haven't really been doing much art anyway in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, this is just my little bullet journal area. But like I was saying, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about each of the books that I have and what prompts they come from the readathon. And I'll be kind of going through, I'll just give you an update every time I finish one of these books and just kind of give you an idea of like thought of the book, why I thought that it was good for the prompts that I chose. And I'm going to try and give you guys an idea of like just what I'm doing throughout the week too. I'm going to try to be a little bit better about vlogging just my day-to-day life. To start off, like I said, I already started reading it a little bit today, and I'm going to read a little bit more tonight, but I'm going to start heavily reading it tomorrow. The first book that I chose for the first prompt is Misery by Stephen King. If you've watched my August TBR video, I planned on reading this book as one of my prompts from that game. And yeah, I'm just really excited to start reading this. I've been really wanting to read Misery. It's one of the classic Stephen King books that quite a few people talk about. I don't hear it too much. Like, I don't hear it too often just because it's a very old book. But I'm really excited to finally read it. I pretty much know the story already, and it really jumped in. Like, the story jumped in immediately. I was actually really surprised that it took off as quickly as it did. I only read 22 pages so far, so I haven't read too much yet. It's like 300 some pages. But I'm really looking forward to reading this. And the prompts that went with that book, the reason why I chose that book, is they kind of give you a little description. The witch hunter has come to Camelot. To keep your newfound magic a secret, read an underhyped book. And I considered Misery an underhyped book just because, like, again, I don't hear it talked about too much. Like, it is a very well-known Stephen King book, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it anymore just because, like, again, it's a very old book. It was written in like the 80s. So it's definitely a book that not a lot of people talk about anymore, even though it is still a very popular book. So I consider that underhyped, or at least under talked about. So the second prompt for the magician status is Merlin has been poisoned. Help Arthur on a quest to find a healing flower. Read a book with a map. So for the book with a map, I chose Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I actually didn't buy this book. My partner, Lucas, you would have seen his little like intro part of the video at this point, or if you haven't, that's his name. You'll see a little bit of a cameo from him here in a little while. But anyway, he bought this book. He actually bought this trilogy. He was really excited to buy it. He's been having his eyes on it for a very long time, and he wanted to read this last month, but didn't really have enough time to, just because he's not as big of a reader as I am. But I'm going to actually go ahead and start reading the first book because I'm also interested in it. And the reason why I chose this book for the prompt is because they have a map. It's a pretty simple map. It says map of the town. But hey, it works, and I was really interested in picking it up, so it wouldn't have been something that I would have picked up if it wasn't for a prompt like this. So I chose that for that prompt. It is not part of my TBR, but I'm very excited to read it. The third prompt for Conjurer is A Plague is Spreading Through Camelot. Find a Cure Quickly. Read a book under 250 pages. I chose that prompt because I don't know, I assume I'd be able to read 4 books in 2 weeks. Like, that shouldn't be too much of an issue for me, regardless of how busy I am. But I want to choose something that'd be a little easy for me, a little bit of a palate cleanser kind of a thing. And again, I was able to choose a book that I already have on my TBR, which makes me really happy. It is We Go On Forever by Sarah Govett. It is a prompt from my August TBR game. It's also the book for the Burned Book Club, run by Maddie over at Books Browsing Blog and Spoops over at Spoopy Hole. They run a dystopian book club. Every 2 months they have a book. This is the book for July and August. I wasn't able to read it in July, so I really wanted to make sure I read it in August, and I was able to fit it into a prompt for my TBR game. And I'm also going to have it be a prompt for the Merlin Read-a-thon because it technically is 258 pages, but I'm going to consider it to be 200 or under 250. It's close enough. I don't think anyone's gonna be too upset about it. But yes, I wanted this to be the book that I read for that prompt, and again to kind of make sure that I get some TBR books in my in this as well. And then the fourth prompt for the readathon to get Sorcerer is you have found the sword in the stone. To claim it and finish your quest, read a 5-star prediction. Now this is a book I immediately went over to my I have a shelf that has a bunch of books that I really want to get to. Like, it's not my TBR card that's over there, but it's like the books that I like absolutely really want to get to, hopefully read by the end of the month or by the end of the year. And this book's been on there for like 2 months now. I've been really wanting to read it, and it is absolutely a 5-star prediction. I think I'm going to blow through this book. It is The Maidens by Alex McAldis. I have been really wanting to read this book for so long. I've heard so many people say so many good things about this book. I also want to read The Silent Patient, which is his first book that he's written before this one. I don't have it yet, but I really want to get it sometime soon. But this is one that I've been really looking forward to for a long time, and I'm just so excited to be able to finally like have a reason to read it besides just wanting to read it, and for it to be a prompt. Again, not part of my TBR, but for this Merlin Read-a-thon, I'm really excited that I'm finally able to like kind of give myself an excuse to read it. These are the 4 books that I'm reading for the readathon. I hope is that I'll read these 2 books by the end of this vlog. I already have a little bit of a head start with Misery, but yeah, I'm hoping to at least get that done in this vlog, if not some other things. But yeah, so sorry about this very long intro clip. Like, it's not really the intro, but you know, like my first day. I just wanted to show you the couple of things from my bullet journal, and you know, just kind of give you guys a little bit of an input on like other things that I do besides just reading. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys my bullet journal spread. I wanted to give you guys an idea of like the prompts and the readathon, and also just the books that I want to read. So yeah, hopefully I get those 2 books done over the course of this week. I'll talk about any other books or any other things that I'm doing as well throughout this week. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this update. So next time I catch up with you guys, I will have finished Misery, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on the book and just what I'm looking forward to. So yeah, I will see you then. Hello everyone. So it is now quite a few days later. It is August 8th, Sunday. So I haven't been doing a really good job with recording these little clips for the vlog. I've been busy. I actually have been doing a lot of reading. I'm kind of taking this reading challenge kind of loosely, just because like I've had a lot of other things going on. If you didn't know already, I am a DM for a D&D campaign adventure, and I'm actually hoping, I don't think you're going to be able to, I don't think you're gonna see it yet, but stay tuned on my channel because I'm actually recording my sessions now. We had just started a new campaign about a month or two ago, and they are now level 3 characters. And I decided that I really wanted to like record our sessions because we have a lot of fun. We're not super strict on the rules, so like sometimes we kind of flex them a little bit just to make like the role-playing aspect of the campaign more interesting and more fun. So we've been playing it for about a month now, and I decided like I really wanted to record the sessions because we just have a lot of fun with them, and I just personally really enjoy kind of putting my own little twist on campaigns that have already been written out. The campaign that they're playing through right now is Out of the Abyss, if you've heard of it. It has a lot. It has to do with a lot of like demon lords, demons, kind of the setting of an Underdark, which is like a whole world that's underneath our world, kind of a thing. It's really interesting. It's really dark. It's really creepy. I have them do like a new kind of mechanic called sanity, which is something that sometimes D&D uses, and it's kind of like whenever they see something that really like surprises them, like kind of startles them, and like really is like something they've never seen before, and like almost kind of makes them go insane. They have to make a sanity check, but they don't make it. I make it, kind of a thing. Anyway, it's a really interesting concept that I really enjoy like kind of implementing in this campaign, and I really wanted to have other people see it, but also kind of like catalog the adventure and be able to like watch it back at some point. It's kind of podcasty in that I don't necessarily have like we don't have face cams for it, but we have like I have it recorded through Discord, so it's a little twangy, but it works just fine. And I'm also kind of illustrating my own backgrounds. If I have any of the backgrounds done by the time I upload this vlog, I'll have a kind of like a time lapse of me creating whatever backgrounds I was able to create show up on the screen. It'll be like 30-second time lapses of what I'm doing on Procreate. I kind of took backgrounds that I found, like background images that I found through a Google search, and then I just kind of like drew over them, but made them a bit simpler and a bit more just like, I don't know, I just want like a simple background to kind of use to show the viewers where they are in the story, like what kind of setting they're in. And then I also am going to have like sketched icons for what their characters look like, what the other NPCs are that are there, and then I was gonna do like maps of a sort for what area they're in, and then like kind of have a marker for like if they've gone to like a new section within that map. And it's just more interactive, just to kind of have the listeners kind of have an idea more of like what's going on. And I figured like even though my players use Roll20 to see maps and stuff, I didn't necessarily want to worry about like copyright images or anything like that. So I'm not showing that, and plus I'm the DM, so you would see like stuff that I wouldn't want you to see necessarily. So I figured like I'll just have it be kind of theater of the mind, except for the fact that you would have these images, these background images that I created. But anyway, so I'm sorry I went on a tangent with that a little bit. I'm really excited that I'm finally recording it, and I'm going to be posting them on my channel. And so by this point, you might have seen the first episode of what I've recorded of the campaign. If you haven't, it's going to be coming up pretty soon. So I'm really excited about that. We've been working on that a lot, and I've been doing a lot of like prep work for it. So that's why I've kind of been really busy this last week. I haven't really been able to read much because I've needed to do a lot of prep work for our upcoming sessions. We just had one last night, and I'm really glad that I did as much work as I did before that, because they got through quite a bit of it, but it was a pretty interesting session, to be honest. It was very hard on them, and it was very like a lot had happened. So you'll be seeing that as episode 2 when it comes up on my channel. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of work with that, so I haven't really been able to read too much. But I did want to update you guys, and I'm hoping to get a little better with it this next week. I was going to make this vlog two-parter, so I was going to have like week 1 for, you know, like the first week of the Merlin Read-a-thon, and then week 2 is going to be like a separate video. But because I only really recorded one clip besides this one for week 1, I decided like I'm just going to go ahead and make it one big vlog, so the entire readathon is going to be within this vlog. I don't know how long it's going to be, it's going to end up being, but it's okay. So anyway, I was able to finish Misery. I have it right here. I absolutely loved this book. It was for the first prompt, and it was like Underhyped's book, I believe was the prompt. And I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. It was a Stephen King book that I've been really looking forward to reading for a long time, ever since I heard of like the concept of it. And it did not, like I was a little worried that I wouldn't enjoy it too much because I already kind of knew what the story was. It did not prepare me for like actually like some gruesome scenes were in this book between like the two characters, and like this entire story is only with these two main characters, and it follows like what Paul is going through while this like crazy fan is basically torturing him to write another misery book. It was really entertaining to read. I really enjoyed it. I blew through it the last like 2 days of reading. I just couldn't stop reading it. I couldn't put it down. So I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. I'm really happy that I finally was able to read it and to kind of have it be part of this readathon. And also I believe I had made it a part of my TBR. So got one book done. So I just started Caraval not too long ago. I'm on page 155 right now. So I'm almost halfway, probably like a third of the way done with the book so far. It's okay so far. It's kind of a 3-star book at the moment. The setting is interesting, but the characters are kind of written a little young for me. Like, I believe they're in their 20s or like late teens. They're supposed to be, but they kind of act like they are teenagers. Like they're a little young for like how I thought they were. I don't know if that's just like the writing style or if it's like just like how they're kind of being interpreted with their language. I'm not really sure. It's kind of reading young for me at the moment, but the plot is kind of interesting to me right now. Like where I am right now is the main character has just she's on the island and she's gone through the first day of the like challenge, like the game that they're playing through, and she found out that her sister is like the main objective for this game because originally she was going to play this game with her sister, but her sister was kind of like captured and she's like the prize in a way. Like you have to find her to be able to win the game. And so she's kind of like frantically looking around and trying to figure out how to play this game, and she's kind of getting like whirled up inside of this like imagination world that's been created. So it's interesting so far. There's some things that I'm not really interested in, like that it's kind of like to me, like the language, like I was saying. There's a concept where the main character sees colors and she kind of like interprets them with feelings and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that is something that like some people can have, but it's just the way that they're implementing it in the story. It kind of seems random. Like kind of seems like it just randomly, like she just like the author remembers that was a character point of hers, so she'll just like randomly throw it in once in a while when she could do it a lot more or a lot less, honestly. So I thought that was a little strange. Whenever that happens, it kind of throws me off a little bit. Other than that though, like I'm enjoying this kind of like game mechanic that they've incorporated, and how like clues that they have to try to find. So they're like, she's going from one clue to clue as she's figuring this out, and that's interesting to me. I love the like kind of clue game trope mechanic. I'm really enjoying that so far. So I am probably only going to be able to read a little bit today because like weekends I usually can't read too much. So I will be able to read a little bit today. I'm hoping to finish Caraval by Wednesday. And that's going to be a little late. Like I was hoping to have finished Caraval already like by this weekend, but it's about 400 pages and I'm probably going to be halfway done or close to halfway done after tonight. So I'm going to have like about 200 pages left, and I know I'm going to have a lot more prep work to do again for D&D this week. So, and I'm also working on something else that's going to be for next month's TBR game. So I don't know if I'll finish Caraval until Wednesday, and then I still have 2 more books technically for the readathon. I have We Go On Forever by Sarah Govett, and I also have The Maidens by Alex Michaelis. I'm sure I'm going to finish We Go On Forever. It's a very short book. It's like 200 something pages. So that'll be like 250 pages. So that'll be a super quick read. I'll definitely finish that by the end of the week. And I guess I'll see if I can finish The Maidens, if I can even start The Maidens. If it's like only 1 or 2 days left in the challenge, I'm probably not going to even bother with The Maidens. I'll see. Because I also just got the new Stephen King book, Billy Summers. I got that a couple days ago when it was released on August 3rd. And I'm really excited. I really want to start reading that immediately. I'm going to be doing a like whole vlog based around that book. So I'm really excited to finally get started with that, and I'm going to want to like start it as soon as possible. I'm surprised I didn't even start it immediately and just kind of forget the readathon. I'll see what time it is when I finish We Go On Forever. If it's like 3 days, if I have like 3 days to finish The Maidens, I'll go ahead and start it. So because I should be able to finish it by next weekend. But if I only have like 1 or 2 days left, I probably won't bother. I'll probably just go ahead and say that I was only able to get 3 of the 4 books done and move on to Billy Summers. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the update. I will check back in with you once I finish Caraval, or if there's something else that happens during the next day or two that I found worth vlogging about. Hello everyone, it is August 12th. It is Thursday. I finished another book for the Merlin Read-a-thon. I finished that 2 days ago. I, again, have been having a really hard time with making sure that I vlog clips whenever I finish them. But anyway, I finished Caraval. It was the second book for the Merlin Read-a-thon, and I thought it was okay. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I thought that the story was really interesting, and I also thought that, like, the overall plot was really fun to read. It was, like, kind of that carnival game kind of trope mechanic, and like having to finish the game in order to win the prize, in order to like save your life or save someone else's life, kind of an idea. And I actually really enjoyed that. I had heard a lot of people talk about how Caraval is like really fun trilogy, and I'm really happy that I was able to finally finish the first book. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to, though. Like, there were definitely some things that I found kind of hard to read. Like, for instance, all of the characters were kind of written a little young, in my opinion. They kind of made it seem as though the characters weren't really the age that they were supposed to be, like that they were described as. I'm pretty sure that the main character is supposed to be in her like late teens, early 20s kind of age. I'm pretty sure early 20s, but she kind of acted like she was in her teens, like mid-teens. And for the most part, that didn't bother me too much, but there were just some moments where like it kind of felt like she was whining a lot, or that she was acting as though some of the more adult actions that were happening around her were like wrong, or just something that she just can't wrap her head around. But then there were some moments where like you could see that she was in her mid-20s or early 20s, because she was having the same kind of thoughts that she doesn't like with this one main character, that she was interested in the one guy. I think his name was Julian. There were just some things that I didn't really like as far as how the characters were written. And then I was also, I don't know, there were just some moments that kind of felt like they could have been expanded upon. They could have been more detailed, or slightly more, I don't know, interesting or kind of dark, because there's a lot of dark themes throughout the story, but the author doesn't really go into those dark moments, at least not with the same impacts that I would have liked them to be. I could definitely see that there were dark moments. Like, for instance, I'm not going to say who, but people do die, people do get injured throughout the story, but it doesn't really give the impact that I thought it should have, because it's just the way that the author describes those instances, and how the main character reacted to those scenes, that just didn't feel like it had substance, that it, like, I don't know, didn't really like make it feel as though the main character was as affected as she should have been. Maybe that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm looking at it a little bit too closely, but regardless, even with all those things kind of off to the side, I did really enjoy the book. I actually do really want to read the sequel at some point. I don't know when I will, but it's definitely on my radar at this point, because I did enjoy the first one. It kind of left it off on a little bit of a cliffhanger, because you kind of find out more about the main character Scarlett's sister, and kind of like the reasons why she did the things she does in the story. And so I'm really interested to see how that progresses, and exactly what it means for the rest of the story, because I don't know if like the rest of the books are also games, if they're also part of Caraval, or if it's something different. It could be any of those things, but I'm interested to see what the sequel is going to be. So I'm really glad that I was able to read it. Again, I gave it 3 stars. That was my second book for the Merlin Read-a-thon. I started the third book. I'm about halfway done now, and that book is We Go On Forever by Sarah Govett, and it is the Burn to Books Club pick for July and August, like I had mentioned before, and I'm about halfway done. I'm a little bit more than halfway, so I should be able to finish it hopefully today. If not today, then definitely tomorrow. And I'm actually really enjoying it so far. It is a dystopian book. It is very recent. It just came out about 2 months ago. And it's kind of about these two characters that are in different sides of this dystopian world. You have one that believes that the world is overlapped by radiation, that like the wilderness, as they call it, has consumed all of the world, and that humanity's kind of on edge of being extinct, like they're endangered. So it is up to these group of people, to like these kids basically, to kind of train and to become the best people that they possibly can be, so they can be picked to become like scientists, researchers, and to go to Research City. And so this main character, Alba, is, you kind of see like her her side of seeing like her friends leave and how she feels as though it's not necessarily true, like everything that they're telling them is not necessarily true. She kind of notices that she sees geese and they don't have like radiation poisoning or anything like that. So she starts to question, like, wait, is this actually real? Maybe it's not as bad out there as we thought it was. Like, maybe humanity is being saved by the people that are working at Research City. And then there's the other side of the coin where you find out that none of that is real because it's just kind of a, like, trick that they have told the people that live there, because they're kind of actually ended up raising humanity, or raising those humans to become basically bodies for those that are rich, for those that can afford to basically transfer their mind from one body to the next. And they can transfer them to the bodies of the people that kind of believe in this wilderness and radiation poisoned world. And the reason why they believe in that is so that they can feel better about not having them live good lives, I guess. I don't really want to describe it. I don't really know how to describe it too well because I don't really know what I should talk about, like, as far as being spoilers or not. So the other main character, Arthur, is the son of the person that's in charge of MAID, which is basically an organization that has come up with this transfer ability to be able to go from one body to the next. The reason why they need to transfer is, one, to become immortal, but also to kind of fight off this infection that's been spreading throughout the world, I guess. Or viruses have developed antibodies to the point where they won't be affected by vaccinations and by by stuff that normally would normally treat like staph infection, like that, those kind of things, different flus. It's gotten to the point where viruses will kill you if you get sick. And so to kind of combat that, like, you move from body to body whenever you get sick, or whenever like you feel like it's necessary to, or like you get old or whatever. And so those that can afford it can like move from body to body, and so they become mortal. And Arthur is the son of the person that was in charge of that, and he isn't necessarily okay with the idea of transferring bodies. He's still kind of in the mindset of like, I would rather look and be the same that I am, even if I do have to transfer. I want to be sort of similar to my original. And he kind of gets that from his mother, who had died of ways that I don't want to talk about because I don't really know too much myself at this point. But he doesn't really believe in the ways that his father and the rest of his organization does. But he like ends up having to transfer because he has a tumor in his head, and you find this out immediately in the beginning of the story. So he has a tumor, so he's going to be dying in a month, so he needs to transfer no matter what. And when he's looking for bodies, he finds a like recording of like the interview of Alba, because they have to do like interviews in order to be chosen by those people in what they considered as Research City. And so he sees Alba's interview and he's interested in her, and he kind of realizes that maybe the people that live in these compounds, they call them centers, maybe they are more human than he realized. And so that's about as much as I want to say. And even when I finish the book, I probably won't say too much more than that, because I don't want to spoil it. It's not a long book, but I am really interested in to see like this concept. I mean, it's kind of similar to Altered Carbon. I'm kind of seeing in that, like changing bodies through the minds, through like chips for Altered Carbon, or just like through memories and through like brain waves. For this story, they're taking it in a very different approach, in that there are these two sides to the coin, and you're seeing both sides, and you're not angry with one or the other, kind of like how in Docile by K.M. Spara, you were really angry with the one main character because he was also the son of this big corporation, but like he believed in what he was doing, kind of a thing. Whereas in this one, Arthur doesn't necessarily believe in what his organization does. So it's really interesting to see kind of these like similar dystopian themes in these stories, and yet done in a very different way depending on like the main characters and how they interpret what's going on around them. But so I'm really interested to see how the rest of the story goes. I also decided, since it is August 12th, I'm technically only 2 days away from the end of the readathon. This will be the last book. I'll only have read 3 books. The 4th book was supposed to be The Maiden by Alex McKeldis. I am going to try and still read that at some point, but I just got the new Stephen King Billy Summers book, and I really want to read that as soon as possible. So once I'm done with We Go On Forever, I'm going to move on to the Stephen King book instead. And again, I'm going to try to read The Maidens if I can during this month, because I've been really wanting to read it anyway. So so I think that is about it. I will catch back with you when I finish We Go On Forever and kind of do like a little wrap up of everything that I read during this readathon. Hello everyone, and this is going to be the end of the vlog finally. So it is a few days later. It is August 15th, I believe. Yep, August 15th, and technically the Merlin Read-a-thon ended about a day or two ago. And so I'm a little late in finishing off this reading vlog, but I am happy to say that I was able to complete 3 of the 4 books that I really wanted to read for this reading vlog. The reason why I wasn't able to finish the 4th book or even start it is because I actually went ahead and started reading Billy Summers by Stephen King. You're actually going to be seeing me do a different reading vlog specifically for kind of reviewing that book, hopefully in the next week or so. But yeah, so I was able to finish 3 books. I was able to finish Misery by Stephen King, Caraval by Stephanie Garber, and We Go On Forever by Sarah Govett. So here are the 3 books that I was able to finish. And yeah, so I forgot to kind of give you my final thoughts on We Go On Forever. I actually really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It would have been a 5-star read if it wasn't for the fact that it was a little short. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I actually really appreciated everything that Sarah Govett had put into the story, put into the characters. I just kind of wish that there was a little bit more to it, like that there was a little bit more, I don't know, like kind of just plot involved within the story. Like, the story was beautiful and it was very well rounded. It had everything that you needed to get out of it. You really got an understanding of like what kind of a world this story is built off of. And I think I had mentioned before in a previous clip that it reminded me a lot of Altered Carbon and the whole changing bodies to kind of stay immortal, but to also kind of stay, I don't know, to kind of beat death and to beat this illness that is being spread throughout the world because of basically antibodies kind of being formed by these viruses. And I really enjoyed the story. I really thought that they did a really good job with kind of giving you a really good understanding of how this virus has affected humanity and how like there is a very big divide between those that are rich that can afford to change bodies like it's nothing, and those that have to be very careful and wear gloves and wear masks and basically try and beat this, diseases that are normally, still normally pretty harmful to humans, but the fact that these diseases can't be cured, that if you get sick, you're sick, you're probably going to die, like back in the olden days. And I thought that was really interesting that they did a really good job with kind of giving you that divide and to kind of give you a really good understanding of like where these characters are coming from. I just kind of wish that they gave just a little bit more, only because I wanted more, not because it wasn't good without it. It was just that I really wish that there was a little bit more to give. Other than that, like that's a very small thing. This would have ended up getting like probably a 4.5, 4.75 if I do points within that. I just go based off of whole numbers. But if I was to give it a point, it would be like a 4.5 because it was just so close to being perfect. And I just really wish that there was a little bit more. But it ended really well. Like, I think the last 10 pages still had me wondering how it would end. So it really does keep you captivated the entire way. And I just really had a really fun time reading it. I kind of wish that, like I said, I kind of wish that there was more, but I'm also really happy with how it ended. I really want to read more of Sarah Govett's works because if anything else that she's written is similar to We Go On Forever, I'd be really happy. So I'm really happy that was the book that Maddie and Spoops picked for the Burned Book Club. I'm really excited to see what they're going to be picking for September and October for those months, because so far almost every book they've picked has been just a home run. With that being said, pretty good range of books that I read for this reading vlog. I had started off with Misery and that became a 5-star read. Then I read Caraval by Stephanie Garber, and that was a 3-star read only because, like I had mentioned before, that was kind of a little young, like written a little young, but I still really enjoyed the plot, still really enjoyed the story, and I want to continue on with the series. And then I ended with We Go On Forever, which was a 4-star read. Again, very close to being 5-star, if only it was just a little longer and just a little bit more in depth with like the world building that they had done. So overall, it was a very successful reading vlog, I would say, or successful readathon. I didn't get a chance to read my 4th book, which was The Maidens by Alex McAldice. I'm still going to try and read that this month. I just didn't want to push off reading Billy Summers anymore. I really wanted to read that as soon as possible. And it's already been almost 10 days after when it had been released at this point, so I really want to get to it. I've already started reading it, and again, if you want to know my thoughts on that story, please check out that vlog that I'm going to be putting up probably in a week. But overall, I'm really happy with how this readathon went. I'm hoping that, you know, if any of you had taken part in the readathon as well, I hope that it turned out well for you. I'm sorry that this vlog didn't come up a little earlier, but I'm just really happy that I was able to complete that many books with everything else that's going on right now. So thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts. If you have read any of these books, please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to kind of get your ideas on what you thought of Misery, We Go On Forever, or Caraval, if you've read any of those books. And also, if you don't really have anything to say but just want to leave a comment, I'd love to have like a heart or something, because it just shows that you guys are watching this video and that you're interested in, I don't know, just leaving me comments and just kind of having a conversation with me. But thank you again so much for watching this video. Please like it if you haven't already, and please subscribe to my channel if you want more content from me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!